He's going to lead you in front of the chapel where we will begin.
Does he know that?
Yes. He just heard me. Now it's going to... The title of it is... The title of his presentation is A Blind Man's Walk Through History. And so that means that we have to walk along with him. We're going to go around the chapel counterclockwise, and he will present to us at each cardinal direction.
That's clockwise.
We're going to start here, and from here we will go counterclockwise.
I'm already dizzy.
Okay. All right.
I'm always dizzy too.
All right, let John Peter talk, buddy.
Okay, so somebody has to tell me what cardinal direction I'm facing.
Let's have you face directly here. Move your right foot. There we go. You are now directly facing away from the chapel in the front of the chapel.
So am I facing east?
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Where's
No.
my...
South.
No, don't leave him. Don't leave him.
South. I got him.
You're looking south. You're facing west.
I'm facing west.
If the church, if we face
I need a hot dog. This is going to be a long night.
Night.
you're facing west, John Peter. Yeah, that's east.
That was actually funny. Daddy, I'm gonna be right behind you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I give up on the cardinal directions. Imagine that I'm looking east. 120 million years ago, you can hear the ocean just on the other side of the railroad tracks. Somewhere behind me is the chapel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I imagine a large dinosaur called Astrodon johnstonii. And my expert researcher, Daniel Johnson, informs me that it was more or less the size of the chapel. And it was a vegetarian, which I'm not. The ocean came along this far up. We are beachfront property 100 million years ago. That's why to the north of us are the gravel pits, because the ocean came and brought gravel. If you go up to Laurel, there's a dinosaur pit where they are bringing out these immense animals that roamed the ground here 150 million years ago. But I'm hungry, so I don't want to spend a lot of time 100 million years ago. Let's go to about 12,000 years ago. The first record of humans here were the Clovis people. The earliest archaeological site is actually an island in the Chesapeake about a mile east of Annapolis. But they would have been in this area. We know very little about them, so because I really want to eat a hot dog, we're going to move to about 4,000 years ago, 3,000, 2,000 years ago, the time of Christ. This land was occupied by the Algonquin people and a specific group called the Piscataway Kanoi. That's not what they called themselves. They called themselves the Tayak. And they had a major, major home down at the University of Maryland because they were really smart people. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's go to the next north cardinal direction.
We are moving counterclockwise from the front
Where
door.
my voice is coming from is east of you.
We're moving, okay. Justinian, or John rather, take him around completely. Let's all follow around to the side of the church.
He said I would.
This is the east side of the church, right here. There.
So I was facing south, was I? Terrific. The dinosaurs were to the east, so my entire talk is askew now.
Okay. All right, are we going to take the long way or the short way?
You're in charge.
The long way. The long way.
Yeah, let's take the long way.
You said that you would imagine were
thinking about Astrodon John Stoney. I was thinking about something funny. About Danny's Pearls. You know who I'm talking about. Astrodon.
An astro dinosaur.
Watch out for the trees. There's a tree in front of you.
Tree is important.
I'm going to lift this up so you're... Try not to lead him under the branches, John. All right.
All right.
So keep going. Keep going. Keep on going.
We keep on moving.
We're going to move till we're exactly at the center of the side of the church here. All right. And that's a good spot right here. Now face him directly coming out this way, please. Okay.
Do I still have an audience, or did you all go get a hot dog? Doggone it. All right. So the Piscataway were here. They were here for about 4,000 years. A little over 400 years ago, a man named John Smith came up the Chesapeake. He actually went up the Potomac and the Patuxent River, and he...
John Smith.
What?
I know John Smith. I'm learning about him in school.
All right. We have an expert in John Smith and an expert in dinosaurs, so if you need to know more about John Smith, see John. He brings the English here. And in 1632, Lord Baltimore will show up bringing the English to the land of Mary.
I know about that.
You know about that?
School.
Which Mary? Who is the Mary in Maryland?
The Queen.
I heard the Queen.
It is the Queen, but I forgot the name.
Her name was Mary. Excellent.
The full name. I forgot the full name.
Henrietta Maria, a French princess. So this was founded as the first place in the New World with a charter of religious freedom. The Act of Tolerance.
What about Rhode Island?
Nope. 1632, Maryland on the Ark and Dove. Lord Baltimore makes the feuding Catholics and Protestants sign a document. No killing each other in Maryland.
John, please.
Let's move on to the next site.
Okay. All the way around to the back side.
I have to walk very slow.
There's a mound of dirt. Let's not take him over it.
Take him around to the mouth.
My eyes are closed.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, buddy. Whoa. Yes.
I know. There's attractions on there. There's attractions on
That's
there.
the way. That's the main. One of the main ways we get in is because that padlock door there. Okay.
We should have stopped. One of the persons has the key. One of these persons has the keys. We're starting with the.
All right, bring him over to me, John.
I hear a voice, John. We're going towards the voice that's not saying anything now.
Bring him over this way, Marco.
Polo.
Marco!
Polo.
Marco!
Polo.
Thank you, Sammy.
Mama!
All right,
Hot dog.
hot dog. Here we are.
All right.
Now let's face him. Take a quarter turn to the right. 90
Okay.
degree. There we go.
How
All
many
right.
brave people are still with us?
Me to see it!
Wow. All right, we're moving forward in time, the American Revolution. And of course, we're no longer facing the directions. The American Revolution does not happen in Maryland. Though Maryland does burn the first tea ship, the Peggy Stewart, before the Boston Tea Party.
The Boston Tea Party.
But Maryland gets short shrift in history for its efforts.
I know the Boston Tea Party.
So the next thing that happens, there was a Frenchman involved. His name is Lafayette. As an old man in 1825, Lafayette will come past this property as he tours the United States. He will come from Montpelier, Laurel. That's not what we called it then. And he will go on down to Riversdale. He will spend the night there and then go into Washington to be recognized by the Congress of the United States, that all of a sudden decided that maybe we owed him something and gave him 30,000 acres of land nobody wanted in Florida to reward the old man for his service to this country. So now we're moving forward. This land that we're on was part of a land grant of Lord Baltimore about 1640 to a family called Snowden. Their house, Montpelier, is still a museum outside of Laurel. Past that house and on the other side of Baltimore Avenue, and I don't know where I am, so I'm just pointing.
Yeah, you're about right.
Avenue is this way.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful for the guy who can't see.
In the rough direction of where Father George's voice came from.
This way.
Okay, it's all right. There was a coach road called the National Pike from Georgetown to Baltimore to Philadelphia, across the Delaware River to New York, and eventually to Boston. And that road crossed in front of this property on the other side of what we call the railroad tracks now. That was the National Pike that Lafayette would come down. But that road crossed through the 10,000 acres of Snowden's property. And
It has the name now of Old Baltimore Pike.
This property was part of the Snowden plantation, part of the 10,000 acres. Snowden was the only property owner here that had developed an industry. Prince George's County grew tobacco, slavery, but the Snowdens had something else. They had iron. Across the road and a little bit up at Merkirk, Snowden will build an iron furnace and generate iron to make cannonballs for the Revolution, and later on wrought iron right up until the Civil War. Merkirk was an iron foundry. So this land was high in iron ore, was bad for tobacco. Tobacco doesn't grow up here. And the Snowdens made money by mining and sheep, and they built mills. There are lots of streams, and of course I'm still disoriented, and Father George is going to say it's right over here. There's a little creek somewhere. Am I even anywhere close to the creek that runs?
What's the name of it? Indian Creek?
Yeah, it's Indian Creek.
It's just a...
Over there.
Your left.
Over there.
Approximately to your left.
Oh, to my left.
Well, let's
Yes.
walk over there then.
All right, why don't we walk?
Let's walk over there, everybody. Over there.
There's also an abandoned settlement back there.
Yes.
Tell us more about this settlement as we walk, Daniel Swenson.
It is back there. I remember there was like a big shower, an abandoned shower, and there was a tree house and a toilet. And I'm going to go visit it because I really want to.
All right.
Place.
We're going to clip that out for a special TikTok. Holy Apostles TikTok. Okay. Keep on going this way. Let's go under here. Try to guide him under the branches.
Duck. Keep ducking.
He's ducking under the branches.
Keep ducking.
Stop.
Now you can stop.
Stop right here. Do you want to go to your
All right.
Stop.
John Peter, when you feel the sun
But you have John Peter.
hit your skin, that will be where we will stop and turn 90 degrees to your right.
90 degrees to my right.
That's right. Here we go.
This is the west side.
Have we lost anybody yet?
No.
Wow. Y'all are gluttons for punishment here. Okay, so this is sheep farms and lots of mills because there are lots of streams. All along what was the Paint Branch is the major creek down to the Potomac eventually. Indian Creek and the other little creeks would have had mills on them. So this whole area is full of little mills, some trying for wool, mostly for flour because they also grew or tried to grow wheat and corn out here. Again, tobacco does not work up here. Around 1820, the Snowdens were beginning to go into the business of land development and selling off land. They will sell just below us on US 1 in what is now Beltsville property, about 400 acres to a man named Truman Belt. His family owned land across Paint Branch all the way to Adelphi Mill and Buck Lodge. And
Is that where Beltsville the name comes from?
good. Give him a star. The Beltsville is not named because it's next to the Beltway. It's named after Truman Belt, who bought from the Snowdens about 400 acres. This property was not part of Truman Belt. For those of you, that would be one of you in the audience who knows where Odell Road is, that road was originally called Belt's Crossing, and that was probably the northern boundary to Truman Belt's land, which went down to the Beltway. I can't believe I'm saying that. Wait, let's not hit anybody with the cane. Truman Belt, through part of his property, remember I told you about the National Pike, the coach road? It ran through part of his farm. In 1824, a family named Garrett got a monopoly for new technology to build a railroad from Baltimore to Washington. That family's railroad was called the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. The tracks are still in front of the church. That railroad crosses the old coach road, the Pike, more or less in the middle of Truman Belt's farm. Truman Belt now has a problem. His farm has a railroad running through it and a major dirt road. So he cleverly says in the 1830s, I'll become a land developer. And he builds a platform which had various names like Belt's Stop. Eventually it becomes Belt's Station. He has a contract to move goods for the B&O from his stop, and he will begin to sell parcels of land. By the late 1830s, there is a general store approximately where, again, for the only person besides me in the audience, Prince George Avenue and the current US 1 cross the railroad track just north of the bridge. That's where Belt's Stop would have been. So we need, we have only one more stop and then I get hot dogs, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so very quickly.
2 people left.
And there are 2 people left?
No, 2 people left.
here.
2 people go away.
2 people have departed.
Oh,
he
2
said.
people departed for the hot dogs? I'm going to talk really fast now. Civil War came. A man named Bradley Johnson, I'm informed no relation to the Johnsons. Thank you. Because he was a Confederate, I guess. I don't,
We disavow.
you disavow. He marched through this, just south of this property and put his guns on St. John's Hill where the Episcopal Church is and blew away the 5th Michigan Cavalry. And then he went and had lunch in College Park with a professor who was one of his cousins. On July 12th, 1864, the famous Battle of Beltsville in the Civil War.
Is that St. John's, the very St. John's Episcopal Church that we have sometimes had our Paschal gatherings
Yeah,
at?
that church was there. There was a ridge, a hill that went across where the bridge is now. And across from that church was a plantation home of the Emack family. And the man who was leading the Confederates, the point man, was Captain Emack, the son of the plantation owner.
There is an Emack Road.
Yeah, right. That's what it is. Okay, so the Civil War comes through here. Civil War ends because I really want a hot dog. And we get to two friends of General President Grant, who in the 1870s are brothers, one in the Navy, one in the Army. The Navy brother buys 2 parcels of land, also almost 400 acres, and we're standing on part of his first purchase of about 120 acres, if my staff person is right. And that is Admiral Ammondale, and we're on the Admiral's property. His brother, General Jacob Ammon, bought property to the, I don't even know where I am anymore. Property. They owned together about 600 acres from 1870 until the turn of the century.
You are on the left of the.
What
You
happened?
are on the middle of the left of the church.
I'm at the middle of the left of the church.
South is to your right, I think.
The north is to
Whatever.
your right.
Oh, the north is to your right.
So Jacob Ammon's.
I'm getting vertigo with all of these cardinal directions spinning around.
Right.
Jacob Ammon's place would have been to
House would have been on the other side of the railroad tracks.
from here.
Yes. Across from a military academy called Brierley's Academy, which the Greek Orthodox Church is busy tearing down. So they can put a big church up. We'll be able to see the Greek Orthodox Church. But the Admiral's house, from his drive, would have connected with that old Baltimore Pike, the National Pike, and across the street in what's called Vansville would have been the military academy that by 1900 was a hotel. The building still stands, but it's collapsing. This is the history, very quickly, of this property. We know, do we know, because I think it's in our folders and things, that eventually the Admiral will build this, I don't even know where it is.
Yes, right behind you.
Ah, good. Build a chapel.
Yes.
And he will donate the land.
One person came back.
One person came back, so I'm talking to one person.
Everybody shout.
Oh, yeah. It's copacetic, John.
All right. To the Christian Brothers, which is a teaching order of men in the Catholic Church in the 19th century. And the idea was this was a working farm. The money generated from the sale of goods from the farm would support the work of these Catholic teachers in Catholic schools in the late 19th and through mid-20th century. Unfortunately, refrigeration comes in the 1920s, and the farm no longer is really needed, and the Christian Brothers will begin to sell the property off for what? Just what the Snowdens were doing 300 years earlier. And belt development in order to support their teaching and themselves in retirement. They began to sell off the farm because they couldn't make a profit anymore. Refrigeration had put them out of business.
It was still functioning when I was in elementary school because my Catholic classmates told me how they would steal watermelons from the Catholic garden.
There was a beautiful, I called it a novitiate, but I don't think that's what it was. It was a 3-story Queen Anne building where the brothers lived. It was a dormitory.
It was a teaching play. It was essentially a boot camp for their young monastics.
Yeah, and it was beautiful building. Developers, I think, arranged
And
for it to disappear.
the actor Peter Boyle spent a couple of years here as a novice.
Peter Boyle,
If anyone knows him from, yes, he played Frankenstein and also was in Everybody Loves Raymond as the dad. Yeah.
All right, I really want the hot dogs.
Yeah.
Have I said enough? Can we have food
Let's
now?
take a 90-degree turn to your left and walk our way back to the front of the parish. And
Oh, good.
And
I was told I had to speak for my hot dogs, so
That's right. All right, don't lead him into the stone well.
That's beautiful.
And now, well, John is a member of the St. Christopher Society. He'll be all right.
Yeah. It's a really pretty garden there that you're planted.
take me to the hot dogs.
John Peter. If I'm not wrong, the whole history of this property is basically land developers selling off land.
That's the history of every estate.
That's the history of.
Watch out, watch out. Turn left, turn left. 45 degrees. Walk forward.
We went through this in
3
our
feet.
Duck.
Okay, no, he doesn't have to duck. Now he can turn again.
He didn't account for
Yes.
the 2 extra feet, you know.
Well, we had that problem when we did the wood thing too.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I bet
So, John
next
Peter,
week
you
it
just
was
have a seat,
tops.
and somebody will present you with your payment.
Hot dogs.
All
Everyone
right.
is getting hot dogs.